that Rusty is here to just get us kicked off this morning with a little bit of inspiration and remembering why we are passionate about life, especially coming out of that, COVID era that we just came from. So Rusty Reed, would you please come up and give us your message?
Thanks, Sandy. Well, the moment I've been sweating since 1 a.m. is here. My name is Rusty, as she introduced me, and I will date myself. In 1980, I attended this school. That was 42 years ago. I never thought I would be standing here today to talk about me attending this school. I was graduating during a time when jobs were hard. In the 80s, there have been several big factories that had shut down, and we'd had some really struggling times in the area, and you couldn't get a job. There were adults that were well-skilled, well-trained, that couldn't get a job. So I had kind of a bad outlook on my future at that point. That's a difference for you right now. You're coming into a time when we're just crazy busy, right? And there's a shortage of people like you. Well, when I was looking for work, you couldn't get a job. So my parents were worried that I had no direction. I had no direction. I didn't do good in school. I hadn't done good in high school. I would play the system. I would get an F one semester and a B plus the next and get my credits. And they had tested me and said, this kid's extremely smart. I just was hyper. I couldn't sit still. I didn't like conventional learning. And they signed me up for a class here. It was called Metals at the time. And I said, sure, it gets you out of school, right? You go down to RVS, you get on your bus at your home school, and you ride down here for 4 hours a day, or I don't remember how long it was, and they signed me up for Metals because I had done well in shop and I loved to build things. Now that passion goes clear back to when I was a little kid. I loved to create things. I built things out of everything from popsicle sticks to go-karts that were crude but ran, and I would become obsessed with manufacturing things in the backyard. I made big messes doing that. I got in trouble with go-karts, but making things that got me in trouble. But engineering as a kid and designing things and loved doing it. I didn't know that I had such a strong passion for making things. That has been a big benefit in my life. Looking back, most of this stuff you don't realize when you're young and you're at your age, your own personal strengths that are going to help you. So I would encourage everybody that's young to look at what are my personal strengths and then cultivate them. So I come down here to class. I remember the first day, we're all in one room. It's metals. You're going to be divided by welders and machinists. I kind of was wanting to be a machinist, but we were all in one classroom, and as far as I know, it wasn't designated where you were going to go. They were just going to say, you guys, who wants to go in machining? Who wants to go in welding? So I go to the bathroom. When I come back, I can't find anybody but the welders. I go in that room. The teacher comes walking in the room, kicks the trash can across the room and says, if anybody crosses me, I'll do the same to you. Now he starts going over weld symbols and talking about welding. I'm in welding. There went the next 18 years of my life. So I eventually graduated. It's tough times. There's no jobs. I decided I want to be a bum. I want to travel the United States and not own anything. And when you own things, it owns you, is my thought. I'm a young kid with a bad idea, really, and I go bumming around the United States and sit under an awning at a laundromat for 10 days straight in the rain and decide there is more to life than this, right? You can own a laundromat and sit out in the rain. I come back to Indiana. I get a job at welding, which is what I had taken here. And I took a year out in there, but I had a slight welding skill. I wouldn't say it was good yet, and I got my first job as a welder. And I welded for 3 years for that company. I got laid off. The economy was still a little hiccupy, and I found a job at Ottenweiler. So the Ottenweiler company was, we had about, I'm going to look down my notes, we had about 10 employees. I was probably about the 10th or 11th employee at that point. They had been owned by the Ottenweiler family for decades at that point. Now it's been over 100 years. I was working for a company that had a vision. They were looking to expand. I didn't even realize that. I was looking for a day's work and a day's pay. Over the years, as I stayed there, technology grew, the company grew with the technology, and I always had a hunger to learn more and more. And I was always saying that I want to do this or I want to do that. And if a new machine was coming in and it was getting unboxed, I would be there to get the manual out and say, I want to run this, I want to learn this, I want to, and to me, it's a way to build who you are, your skill set, and make you more valuable to your employer. And let's face it, you have to be valuable to your employer because money makes the world work, right? And so I'm constantly growing and educating myself as the company was too. It was a real blessing to have gotten into this company when it was not that big. And we've grown now to 185 employees steadily for the last 37 years. So right now, no one has been there longer than me. I think there's real merit in finding a company and growing with that company and staying with that company. And I see that as not happening as much as it used to. A lot of kids change jobs a lot. I would encourage you to find a company and grow with that company and develop your skill sets and constantly be asking, what else can I learn? Ask yourself these things. Network with others. Learn from those. We're going to be dying off. We got a lot of stuff we've done. We've got a lot of knowledge. And I'd love to teach it to people that want to learn it, to people that want to absorb it. It's one of my passions in life is to hand that down. That's why I'm here today. It's not because I'm comfortable. It's not because I'm a public speaker. It's because I wish that I could share what I have with others and they could run the next generation with it. So don't underestimate the value of that social skills and interacting with others. That's been one of my largest gains in life is realizing that I need to reach out to others. There are people out there that have a lot of information, and if we can all share our knowledge with each other, we just gain. We all gain. I have something to learn from the kids I train. They have something to learn from me. We all get smarter. It's a win-win. Push yourselves to do that, to learn to use your social skills. Ask yourself how things are made. Now, I'm more of a manufacturing guy. Now, you're not all manufacturing here, but I'm always looking at something. I remember being amazed at a screw-off pop-out cap. That's a lot of technology went into a screw-off pop-out cap. Some guy labored over that, making the dye that injected that, and we just take them off, throw them away. It's all over. It's all over. How was that made? How many people earned a living involved in making that? And don't underestimate what you're doing and how important it is, even if it seems minuscule. It's important. It's important to somebody. It's important to the economy, to the people, your family. And own your mistakes. There's one. I had one yesterday, right? Own your mistakes and grow from them. That's an important thing. When you make a mistake, own it. Study why you did it, how you did it, fix it, and move on and learn from that. You're going to make mistakes. I'm always taking chances. That's one of the things that has always given me room to grow. I don't sit here and idly watch what's going around. I'm constantly pushing harder and harder, which puts me out on an edge. It puts me out on a limb. And you'll make mistakes, and you will fall, and it does hurt. But it's an important part to growing. It's constantly pushing yourself, and you're out on the edge when you're doing that. There's tons of opportunity right now for all of you. There's so many places you can work and grow, and there's technology out there that you have access to. We got to remember, in 1980 and 42 years ago, there was no internet. That's when I came out of school. There was no internet. There was nothing programmable at Iowa that you could program. I'm a programmer now. I design tooling packages. I quote the work in the machining area. I program the machining centers. I hired in as a welder. I graduated here as a welder. And I wouldn't say moved up. I don't like to think of myself any further from the door, right? You don't move up. You just keep gaining. You just keep gaining knowledge that you can use and apply. That's what you're doing when you're moving up. You're not moving up. You're moving up here. All right? Tons of opportunity for you guys. Number one, have fun. Love what you do. I think maybe only 5 years ago I could say, you know what, I love what I do. I love what I do. I guess when I got older, everybody asked me, when are you going to retire? And I go, I don't want to retire. I love what I do. I love what I do. I think society tells you shouldn't. You're supposed to go to work. You're supposed to go to work. But, don't call it that. I love what I do. Have passion about it. Enjoy what you do, find what you enjoy, and love it, and embrace it, and grow with it. That's all I got. Thanks for letting me talk.
Let's give Rusty another round of applause. Thank you. The first time that I met Rusty was on a tour of Odd Dweller a few months ago, and Dr. Daniel was there, and I found Sandy and I just kind of stopped and we were mesmerized by Rusty, and we just had a conversation, and the rest of the crew like kept walking, and I think we stayed and talked to Rusty for probably 3 or 4 minutes afterwards, and that's when Sandy and I kind of turned as we walked away and said, yeah, we got to sign him up to be a speaker and tell his story to our students. So I appreciate kind of your message because you're right. It's all about trying to advance and get better each and every day. So we are going to turn now to the reason why we're all here.